Hey, Joe here. In this video, I take a journey to the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Parks. Riding and camping in the state of Idaho. Heading high into the Rocky Mountains. We're up here far enough right now that there's still snow on these mountains up here. And checking out some of the most spectacular sights in all the U.S. as the Vagabond saga continues. With the weather in Yellowstone looking decent for the next week, I began a slow kind of a migration northward, riding from Utah up into Idaho on the dreaded I-15 corridor. When I reached Idaho, I picked up a steak and 2 gallons of water from a grocery store in Malad City, then headed into the Caribou National Forest. Man, if this spot only had a couple of trees on this flat little meadow area, this would just about be perfect. Yeah, southern Idaho, right next to this creek, which is a major bonus. This over here is shaded, but it's all on a slope, which is no good. Maybe put my tent right there, wake up right next to the creek. Got this top sirloin on sale. Looks pretty decent. It's already gotten up to a good cooking temperature. It's still cool to the touch, but it's not cold. Oh yeah. All right, technical issues. I was getting some pretty sweet footage with this drone and accidentally flew it right into the creek. So I got it taken apart, trying to let it sun dry. It doesn't work as of right now, but hopefully once everything dries out, it'll fire up. If not, that might be the last drone footage that you're seeing for a while. Rigging all kinds of mayflies out here. These are absolutely irresistible to trout. And yeah, they look like this guy right here. If I had some fly fishing gear, I would try to match that up. Being as how this is trout country, I might have to look into getting some tackle out here, honestly. I haven't been fishing in a long time, but I'm gonna take a picture of this guy and keep it in mind. Well, good news, the drone appears to be working again. Bad news, I lost a couple of those little tiny screws, so I'm gonna kind of see if I can get some replacements, I guess. I didn't think about it until after the fact. I should have just done this whole operation inside of my tent, that way I could find them. You know what, I might have a magnet in my bike that I can run along the ground. Maybe I can still find them. Today's Friday, and the weather in Yellowstone is supposed to be absolutely beautiful this weekend, but that means that it's feasibly going to bring with it a lot of traffic. So I'm probably going to hang out nearby in Idaho, at least through the weekend, get some editing done, and then wait until Monday before heading into the national parks. From my idyllic spot next to the creek, I got back on I-15 for a bit and rode up through Pocatello to the town of Firth. Pocatello was a cool little city which I liked immediately. A mixture of rural farming folk mixed in with the indigenous people of the Shoshone-Bannock tribes. The place had a laid-back vibe, and everyone I encountered was super friendly. I kept riding north of Pocatello a ways until I reached the town of Firth, where I found a $10 a night camping area with an honest-to-God drop box. A rarity these days. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Got this beautiful campground right next to the Snake River. $10 a night. Everything's payment on arrival with the envelope. None of that reserving online bullshit. All right, happy birthday steak. Today's my birthday, so I'm celebrating with this absolutely gorgeous looking ribeye. All I need is a whole bunch of candles. All right. Cheers. It was almost worth getting old just for this steak. Being out in nature like this tends to have kind of a hypnotizing effect on a person. You never really feel bored, and there are a lot of times I just sit there in my chair just kind of watching the sunset. I never really get bored of that. Wow, the sky's like purple now. Every time I look at this sunset, it's changing colors. There's been all this fluff flying through the air, whatever kind of plant that is. Very fluffy and cottony. Almost like cotton candy, or like a spider web. Earlier, I'd had a new drone battery and screws sent to a Staples about 30 minutes up the road in Idaho Falls, and headed there to pick up the packages which were due to arrive that day. All right, so I'm in Idaho Falls. It's getting pretty late. It's already almost 4 p.m. So I still got to pick this package up and then look for a place to camp tonight. Anyway, just kind of killing time, walking around. There we go, some baby magpies. Since I'm still waiting on that package, I'm getting pretty hungry. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of stealth cooking out here in the parking lot. Lamb chops. Well, that's one less thing I got to worry about. Still waiting on Amazon to deliver that package. Luckily, this time of the year, it doesn't really start getting dark until 9 or 10. Literally, that video I took of the sunset the other day was like 9:30. I should have plenty of time to start looking for a place to camp. And in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of walk around here. A few moments later. Well, Staples just closed. It's 6 p.m. There we go. So obviously I ain't getting my package today. If your package sits for a week, they send it back, you get a full refund. So I'm just gonna order another drone battery ahead, have it sent somewhere else, and go ahead and hit the road, because otherwise I'd be sitting here waiting around for another day tomorrow probably, and God knows if I'd even get it or not. So I'm gonna keep moving now towards Victor, Idaho, not that far from the Wyoming state line, and ultimately Jackson and the Grand Tetons. All right, now getting ready to head up this little mountain pass over here. It's about 30 minutes to Victor. Just gonna be taking my sweet time. It's getting a little later, although still got at least another hour of daylight. Once the sun starts going down, that's when the four-legged critters are out on the road. From the town of Victor, I headed north a ways to a spot I'd used before in the Caribou Targhee National Forest. This is actually a spot I stayed at last time I was out here. Gosh, almost about 5 years ago with Chip Parisi. Seeing as I'm in bear country and about out of daylight, the first thing I'm going to do is gather up anything aromatic, any soap, deodorant, toothpaste, beef jerky, anything with a strong smell to it, basically, and then find a tree to hang it from. Definitely bear country out here. Instantly the scenery changed from like pretty much flat farmland. Now this very familiar sort of wilderness right at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, basically. I gotta say the people in Idaho, as well as Wyoming, Montana, this whole area, very friendly, very polite. Seems like people are brought up the right way out here. Even the young people, super polite. Well, as you might expect, it got pretty cold last night. The best thing I find is just to force yourself to get up and get moving. So anyway, I'm gonna go get my stuff out of the tree up here and then head towards Jackson, Wyoming, ultimately into the Grand Tetons in Yellowstone. Last time I was at Yellowstone, there was a giant herd of buffalo crossing the road. And so you had to kind of maneuver away sort of between them. It's always a little sketchy, but they seem to be pretty used to motorcyclists. From Victor, I headed east to Jackson, Wyoming, then north into the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Parks. The plan was to take my time and look for somewhere to camp around West Yellowstone, Montana. As you know, I almost never buy coffee from the gas station just because it becomes prohibitively expensive if you're doing it every day. But on a cold day like this, you need something hot to kind of warm you up. That is a lot of damn antlers. All right, so these are the magnificent Grand Tetons. Okay, right there is that middle Teton glacier. That's the TP Glacier. And right there you got the Teton Glacier. If you're traveling through this area, be advised that there are 2 separate fees to enter both Grand Tetons and Yellowstone. Since I'd already bought an annual parks pass back in Bryce Canyon, I was all good to enter both parks at no additional cost. Yellowstone National Park. The weather couldn't be better. It was pretty nippy this morning, but it's turning out to be a pretty beautiful day. This, I think, is snow melt. We're up here far enough right now that there's still snow on these mountains up here, but it's not very cold at the moment. There's a big one. freaking mountain of a buffalo.
Any illusions I had about having the place to myself on a weekday such as this were dashed when I got to Old Faithful. The sheer volume of tourists out here was absolutely astounding. After waiting in a sea of people for about 22 minutes, the geyser went off like a geyser.
Man, it's like a parking lot to a music festival. Crazy, even though it's a weekday.
The traffic got exponentially worse as I headed to the Grand Prismatic Spring. Seeing so many outsiders going absolutely apeshit over this place, I realized just how truly special the U.S. national parks really are. I tend to take a lot of these places for granted since I can essentially go pretty much anytime I want, but it was obvious that for the people who'd made the long journey to get here, in some cases traveling halfway around the world, this was clearly a very important moment in their lives. After the Grand Prismatic Spring, I just about had my fill of doing touristy shit for the foreseeable future, so I headed toward West Yellowstone to stock up on supplies and look for somewhere to camp.
Just picked up my supper for tonight, stocked up on water, and now I'm gonna start the arduous task of trying to find somewhere to camp for the night, which based on the traffic today should be interesting.
From West Yellowstone, I rode about another 30 minutes north into the Custer-Gallatin National Forest.
All right, it looks like this spot will work. I don't see anybody else using it. This is the National Forest, so I should be able to camp here. So the first thing, again, this is really thick bear country, so I'm getting everything aromatic and taking it at least a good 50, 100 yards, probably in that aspen grove. Sit down and cook my dinner, wash my dishes, and hang everything, deodorant, soap, anything else that smells, and hopefully not get eaten. All right, got some ground beef today, Colby Monterey Jack cheese, and some Hatch hot green chilies. Since my last ground beef and cheese experiment was such a success, I'm doing it again. It's super cheap. All the steak in the touristy grocery store was really expensive, so this is absolutely delicious. Always a little tricky eating in bear country. but the wind's going that way. So if anything comes, it's probably gonna be coming from that way, I hope. Cheers. It's very delicious. When I talked to a Montana forest ranger a few years back, he kind of suggested, okay, make sort of a triangle. One point being where you set up your camp, another point being where you cook, and then a third point being where you store your food. So I don't always follow those instructions exactly, but obviously when I'm in grizzly bear country, I follow it to the letter. So I've been hiking back here a pretty good ways through some relatively rugged terrain. The hardest part of following these instructions to the letter is actually finding enough of a tree branch that's high enough. It's got to be 10 feet off the ground at least. Well, hopefully that'll hold. That's a lot of aromatic stuff that I've been carrying around as it turns out. All right, I got company. This is really not a very private spot out here next to this parking lot. So I'm gonna head up the dirt road and see if I can find something else. All right, apparently this is an actual campsite. It's a pretty shitty spot. Not a lot of shade right now. You got some dead branches up in that tree too. I don't like to see that. This looks like maybe once upon a time it was a really good spot before they cut all those trees down. I guess they're afraid some idiot was gonna come up here and set the woods on fire. In that case, it's probably not a bad idea. In my case, it's a terrible spot. I got no shade and there's a bunch of widow makers up in that tree. So I'm really not feeling it. I guess I'm gonna head further down the gravel road. I'm exhausted. Well, this ought to do nicely, actually. It's right at the end of the road, as it were. There's a little turnaround right here. And tonight might be one of those rare nights I actually build a fire, since somebody else was so nice to cut all that firewood for me. I don't know when that stack of firewood was cut, but it is absolutely soaking wet. Whoever cut it must have cut down a live tree or something like that, but I can't get it to burn at all. So something I figured out is that I can plug my laptop into the battery tender and it won't run the battery down of the bike, at least not when I use it for like a couple hours at a time. The problem is I've just had a tiny little cord for the USB-C, so I just ordered this, which is a 15-foot long USB-C, so I can feasibly run this over to my laptop. I don't think I needed a 15-foot cord, honestly. I don't know why I even ordered it. It's pretty heavy, but I got the comfort now of I can just sit here, work on my laptop for a couple hours and not run the battery down. All right, heading out of here. Unfortunately, the going to the Sun Road in Glacier National Park is still under spring plowing, so it's closed. Was hoping to head up there, but doesn't look like it's going to happen, which is usually the story when I'm in Montana. Nevertheless, from here, I'm heading north to Bozeman and then cutting across Montana down to the town of Red Lodge, which I like a lot. Sit there, kind of regroup, take a break for at least a few days.
From my position outside of West Yellowstone, I headed further north into the state of Montana. So as always, if you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.